Everyone loves good food, but how do we make sure we keep enjoying it every day? Today, we're exploring simple practices and ideas that will help us keep food on our tables now and in the future. Let's begin. Hello, Simple Peeps. I'm Chef Tatog, and welcome to our podcast, Our Shared Roots, on simple.ph, where we dig into stories that connects us. In the previous episodes, we explored the stories behind Filipino food, from its colonial heritage to its diversity, both on the streets and in our spirits. This time, we look at sustainability and food security connects through native ingredients and traditional knowledge. We're discovering how caring for our roots can help feed future generations. Joining me today are Chef Waya Arauz Wihangco of Gypsy Baguio, a champion of sustainable farming. Welcome to the podcast.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat.
Yan, oo. Also joining us is Cherry Atilano, the founding farmer and CEO of Agrea, dedicated to empowering sustainable farming communities.
Hello, Chef. Good morning.
Good morning. And of course, Chef Lawrence Castillo, Associate Director of One Veg, who advocates for the revival of plant-based heritage foods.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, welcome to our shared roots. Napaka-exciting ng ating usapan ngayon. Lagi natin pinag-usapan na parang we want delicious food, we want authenticity, we want parang heritage. But kaya ba nating pakainin lahat ng Pilipino?
Yun nga, 'di ba? Laging gutom dapat ang nasa central sa
Ayan.
usapan natin. In fact, tuwan-tuwa ako sa Iloilo, when we went and we were talking about how they applied for the UNESCO City of Gastronomy. Yung unang-unang sinenter nila sa objectives was addressing hunger. So doon nag-umpisa yung kanilang pag-develop ng gastronomy program nila. So dapat din tayo, pag nag-uusap sa pagkain, lalo na taga-Pilipinas tayo, gutom yung una nating pag-usapan. Sa Pilipinas, napaka-rich ng cultural food heritage natin. Sa totoo lang, napakayaman ng ating
Very diverse.
Very diverse. Pero yun nga, napakarami rin ng gutom. So yung disparity between the richness of the food and the availability of food for the poor is huge. So isa yung kailangan nating
At saka may another thing,
i-address.
maraming ding iba busog pero walang nutrition.
Correct.
It just
Yes.
puno lang yung tiyan
Yes.
para walang laman
Para
ang
walang laman ang kaluluwa.
kaluluwa.
At yun, nutrition din
Nutrition
talaga.
oo.
Makadagdag into that, no? Kasi, di ba, parang mag-iba kasi yung hunger at saka yung nutrition. So, yung food security, magkaiba siya sa nutrition. You can be food secure. Like, for example, I just went to Siargao lately. And pupunta ka sa mga fishing communities, makikita mo isang bandyadong kanin, tapos isang pirasong isda. Yun lang. So, it's really carbo loading. So, they might be food secure. Busog sila. But it's not nutritious.
Yeah.
Actually, kaya maganda yung binanggit na gutom at saka malnutrition. Pero kung titignan natin sa general population natin, yung may problema ng gutom at malnutrition, sila rin yung gumagawa ng pagkain mismo. From
Tama.
our farmers, the fisher folks. So, magandang i-unpack yung maraming mga usapin sa pagkain on food security, on nutrition. So, bakit nga ba ganito ang state of food natin dito sa Pilipinas?
So yung challenge, paano natin to baguhin? Kasi habit na to eh. At ito na yung pinakamadali. Tapos yung psyche nga kanina na bakit yung ating mga poorest of the poor at yung gumagawa ng pagkain, sila pa yung gutom. Like for example, yung mga farmers and fishers. Alam mo, pag pupunta ko sa farms, Nay, kainin niyo yung gulay na tinatanim niyo. Ay hindi ma'am kasi kailangan may dilatas. Kasi parang they feel they arrive in life. Pag afford silang bumili ng meatloaf or kung anong dilatas no, na ilagay sa cabinet ng kitchen nila. So, medyo nasira yung heritage natin. Kasi lahat ng, nabawa, may root crops sila, mga kamote, kasaba, lahat yung binibenta nila. At yung perang pambili nila in exchange of extremely processed food. So, syempre, susolusyonan mo naman. Baka pwede kang maglagay ng malunggay na tinanim mo para lang ma-enhance yung nutrients. So, parang palagi tayong curative instead of, alam mo yun, preventive.
So is it really like hunger and malnutrition is because there is a lack of availability of resources, or it is that we just think differently, or mali lang yung appreciation natin ng what is available to us?
Ako, tingin ko kasi yung idea that we are rich, that has been taken away from us. Kasi kahit naman ngayon, nananatiling biodiverse pa rin yung Pilipinas. Kahit na marami nang nangyari sa ating landscape and all. Pero yun na nga, yung binabanggit kanina, iba yung culture ng yung mga communities natin, mababa na yung pagtingin sa sarili nating pagkain that is heavily much reliant on what is available in our environment. Kaya yun yung isang challenge na yung mismong producers natin, paano nila i-reclaim yung kanilang pagmamahal dun sa sarili nilang tinatanim, dun sa kanilang sariling luto, para yun yung maipasa natin. Kasi if we're not going to really embrace our roots, 2 decades from now, ang food heritage na ng Pilipinas, fast food. At yun yung parang yung may tatanggapin natin, chef. Parang mahirap lunukin na kapag gano'n.
Siguro ang laki rin talaga ng anong tawag dito, yung media. Ang laki ng epekto. Alam mo, nung bata ako, ang alam kong spaghetti, yung matamis na spaghetti. So, hindi ako kumain ng spaghetti ng 10 taon kasi ayaw ko siya eh. Until nung college, nagkaroon ng Angelinos. Tapos, ang dami pala ng spaghetti. Hindi pala ito yung spaghetti alam ko. So, finally, gusto ko pala ng spaghetti. Pero yun nga, ang expectation natin, sabi ko nga kunyari, children's party, magluluto ko ng spaghetti matamis kasi yan ang gusto ng bata. Diba? Sa restaurant ko, wala kaming children's menu. Yan ang isang inanong ko. Wala kaming children's menu. Pag tinanong, anong pwede sa bata rito? Lahat. Pagkain po yan eh. Walang bawal sa bata kung pagkain yan. Diba? So, kailangan natin nung change ng mindset na yun. Kasi sa bata nag-uumpisa eh. Tuwan-tuwa ako dun sa Iloilo, meron silang proyekto na part of their nutrition program. Nag-organize sila ng mga nanay na magluluto sa elementary school, ng elementary school lunches. Pero ang ipapakain ay traditional foods. So yung palat ng bata, nasanay sa traditional food. So yun yung hahanapin niya, 'di ba? Kasi kung anong ipakain mo sa bata, yun yung hahanapin niya habang buhay. Yun yung magiging traditional and heritage sa kanya. 'Di ba? Kung ano yung kinalakihan niyang pagkain. So anong kinakalakihan ng pagkain ng mga anak natin ngayon, 'di ba? Fast food, matamis sa spaghetti.
At saka hindi pwede
fried
mag children's
chicken.
party na walang fried chicken.
Correct. Oo. Ako nga pa, feeling ko yan ang national food natin.
Di ba?
Actually.
Sa Baguio. Pag tinatanong nila, anong Baguio food? Fried chicken.
Fried
Tsaka
chicken.
chop suey. Di ba? Parang yun yung, di ba?
At least yung chapsuy gulay, di ba?
Bawang truck stop. Pero yun nga
Diba?
yung ano natin. Anong pinapakain natin sa anak natin? Kasi yun yung magiging yun yung kakalakihan nila. Yun yung magiging heritage food in their mind.
Yes.
Alam mo, adding to this, no, medyo alarming. Kasi yung sa Philippines, i-connect ko lang kasi I'm into the farming community, which you also are, chef, no? Di ba, our farmers are aging, 58 years old,
Yes,
average age. But the average age of Filipino population is 24.
Yeah.
So imagine, ang layo-layo ng people who are producing the food to people who are feeding the food, 24. And if you dissect the data and the behavioral ng eating habits of the 24 years old, lalo na convenience order lang, accessible, so talagang grabe yung access. So aside from sabi nga ni Chef Waya kanina, yung media, and then when they go to open their apps, grabe yung bombard of advertisements and promos of fast foods. And then this convenience is really disconnecting them all the more to the source of food. That's why the producers of the food, who are farmers and fishers, medyo ang baba na rin ng respeto siguro sa pagkain din nila.
And they also want to
Because it's
shift
supported.
their own business and their own livelihood because hindi na profitable or marketable yung products nila.
Yes.
Yan.
So, napaka-grabe yung medyo problem dyan. Kasi imagine you have an aging farmer feeding
Younger
24
generation.
younger generation. We're somehow losing in terms of how do we really
Parang
preserve the
supply
heritage?
versus the growing demand.
The growing demand.
Oo, di ba? Yeah. Pero it's very interesting, no? Parang every one of us seem to be very passionate about this topic. Pero can you just parang share how you got into this? Kasi hindi lahat ng tao ganito mag-isip, di ba? So, bakit kayo nagkaganyan?
Kasi ako, lumaki akong Ilocano yung household namin, nanay, tatay ko, Ilocano. Mga Ilocano, magulay
Gulay.
talaga yung mga yan. Alam nyo yan. Tapos, secondly, siguro yung, dahil I've been into development work with a lot of communities, kaya alam ko yung situation ng mga communities natin, lalo na ng mga farmers natin. So, when I went into the culinary world, ika nga. So, inisip ko, paano ba? Paano ba? Kasi hindi naman pwedeng masarap lang.
Yes.
Kinakailangan nakaka-feed ng ating kaluluwa at kalusugan. So, kaya ako, nung nagsimula na yung food advocacy, talagang sinubukan kong makipag-aralan sa mga indigenous communities natin. Tingin ko, mahalaga yung indigenous knowledge in learning hindi lang yung pagkain, not just the dish, pero ano yung sustainable practices nila in terms of growing our food, in terms of being stewards of the environment, at kung paano nila dinadala at sinishare yung kanilang produce to the rest of the world and the community through trade, etc. So ako kaya doon ako naka-focus ngayon hindi lang yung to promote their dishes, but to really understand ano yung importance ng heritage and indigenous knowledge in terms of biodiversity preservation, in terms of ano yung gusto nilang mangyari. Actually, may isang naglinger na matagal sa akin nung minsan bumisita kami sa Tubabenguet, isang farming community, vegetable farming community na bumalik na sila sa organic farming from conventional farming. And then, masaya na sila kasi nakakain na nila yung sarili nilang tanim. Pero again, ang hope talaga nila, instead of just producing organic vegetables, maibalik yung abundance ng kanilang native gulay, katulad ng amti. Kasi yun yung, para sa kanila, yun yung gulay na nagbigay ng kalusugan. No, at ng abundance sa kanila sa matagal na panahon sa kanilang kultura. At doon deeply rooted yung kanilang diet, yung kanilang care for the environment and their culture.
How about you, Cherry?
Oh, wow, malalim-lalim to.
Ito lang.
You know, Chef, di ba, I grew up in a sugarcane farm. And,
Kaya pala sweet.
yeah, but...
Yun naman.
Gusto ko yan. But I never used sugar since I was 15. It's my little activism until now. And I've been going back to the sugarcane farm. Actually, putting up a farm school this year. So, when I was growing up, alam mo yung, syempre, full on sugar, monoculture. So, it really destroyed the entire heritage of growing your food. And syempre, yung tao, sanay na hindi nagtatanim ng gulay. Kasi may mga sari-sari stores kung saan doon na sila kukuha ng konsumo. So, nung my mom put me in a scholarship center, kasi wala kaming pera para makapag-aral. So, sabi niya, you go to the scholarship center and you learn how to do home economics, no? So, tuturuan ka pag weekend. And then I read a book about biointensive gardening. It's called BIG, Biointensive Gardening. It's green. So, I was 11 that time. Nabasa ko yung libro na to. I was so fascinated. The book says, if you're poor, 100% of your income goes to food. Hindi mo na iniisip na bibili ka ng damit, bibili ka ng kung ano-ano. And then, it says 70% of your income goes to rice, 30% goes to ulam. But if you know how to plant your vegetables, like tatanim ka ng okra, kamatis, talong, kangkong, pwede mong ipatong sa sinaing mo kapag nagsasaing ka doon sa hacienda, lalo na sa mga sakada, mga migrant workers. And then, pagluto ng sinaing mo, luto na rin yung ulam mo, you partner lang with ginamos and sausawan, that's a meal. So for me, as an 11, wow, yung solusyon sa kagutuman. Then I went back home and then, I told my mom na I really want to proceed to this. And then I studied agriculture. I left home at 15. When I left home at 15, so I was teaching farmers at 12 in the hacienda where I grew up. And then sabi ko, I need to study agriculture. Of course, nag-riot yung buong pamilya. Bakit ka mag-farming? Bakit ka mag-agriculture? Walang pera dyan, maghihirap ka. Dapat doctor ka, lawyer ka, or anong gagawin mo. But then I left and then I told myself I will never use sugar again. So it's never been in my grocery list until now. And then, so because of this, I understood more and more the suffering of our farmers. Lalo na yung mga fishers na kaya kagagaling ko lang sa Siargao. And then, ayaw nilang kainin yung produkto nila. Kasi alam nilang, bugbog to sa chemicals. May mga ibang farmers na iba yung binibenta nila. Ang iba yung
Para sa
pinakain
kanila.
nila.
Oo.
Kasi pag bumisita ka, parang nangangamoy. No, I was immersed in some farms na for the longest time, hindi ako kumakain ng mga talong, mga ampalaya. Kasi sinasawsaw mismo sa formalin. Sa formalin. So, na-shock ako in that entire. Ito yung mga trauma ko. Chef, sabi ko, we need to do something. We need to really do something. So, pinag-aralan yan, lahat-lahat. And then, now with Agria Company and the foundation, alam mo, nakakatuwa. Kasi we also try to change the food environment of our farmers. Kasi like, for example, pag nag-send kami ng purchase order sa farmers, minsan yung tinatanim nila, kamatis lahat sila kamatis. So pag nag-harvest ng kamatis, tapon sa daan kasi walang mabentahan, mabubulok lahat. And then, so kami, binibigyan namin sila ng PO na 12 yung dapat nilang isupply. Tapos pag nakita nilang PO, ay ma'am, pwede din pala namin itanim yung cucumber, yung talong, yung ganito, ganito, ganito. So, you work on fear of missing out. Yung FOMO, ay, pera to So, itatanim.
So, they parang naturally change your farming methods.
So, eventually, like, most of our farmers talaga are now we're transitioning to regenerative farming and good agriculture practice certified sila. Kasi, imagine from 1 or 2 crops monocropping, ngayon they have 12 diversified crops. In return, you change their food environment. Uuwi sila na 12 na yung gulay makakain ng bahay nila.
How about you, Chef Waya?
Me. Ako galing din kasi ako sa development sector before I became a chef. So, hindi nawala yung pag-iisip na kailangan lahat ng gagawin mo merong development component. So, my restaurant has always been a launchpad for my advocacies. Lalo nung pandemic, di ba? Parang doon na, di ba nagluto tayo ng santamakmak na pagkain, ganyan-ganyan. Doon ko rin nakita how broken the system was. Na parang nagtatapunan ng gulay sa norte kasi hindi makatawid ng mga barriers. Tapos dito, wala man lang tayong mabiling pagkain para i-serve sa mga talagang gutom ang dinanas ng mga tao ng pandemic. So, nung sinukuan ko yung Maynila, Caps.
Bye, world.
Bye.
Goodbye. Ha? Tama na tong kalokohan ko. Lumipat ako sa Baguio, diba? So, nung 2021, nag-open ako ng restaurant sa Baguio sa middle of the pandemic like a crazy person.
Very consistent.
Check and check.
Yes! Check lahat, diba? So, lipat na ako. Ayoko na. So, pagdating doon, naging mas malapit ako sa farmers. So, tininive ko na, sabi ko nga, ang goal namin pag menu development is, how many people do we know produce the things on display? As much as possible, we want to know everybody who produced whatever it is we're serving. So, kinarir ko, pumunta ako sa mga farms, kinilala ko yung mga farmers. Tapos nakita ko nga na parang, nakatrabaho ko yung WOFEX Noong 2022 sila Joel. Kasi nung bumalik yung WOFEX, ang daming butas na pwesto kasi nga hindi pa ready lahat bumalik, di ba? So sabi na, ang decision nun was, sige, invite tayo ng mga farmers para lang makita natin kung ano yung pwedeng maging epekto kung nandyan sila, magbenta sila sa ganitong level. So doon nagkaroon ng pagkikita ang chef at farmer. Diba? So yung mga chefs na curious, oy, ganda ng mga produce nyo. Pwede kami pumunta sa farm. So pumunta sa farm, nag-ayos kami ng farm tours dahil doon. So yun sa akin doon nangyari yung change. Na parang pag ikaw nakapunta ka sa farm, hindi ka natatawad ulit.
Totoo.
Diba?
Totoo.
Alam mo yung hard work.
Alam mo yung hard work.
Hard
Nakita nila
work.
ang lalim ng bangin, iaakyat,
Oo,
tapos,
iakyat.
diba, isusort, hugasan, lahat. Grabe. So, doon nag-umpisa yung project namin na parang, nakita nyo na. So, grabe yung change na mangyayari pag na-immerse.
Pero may
sila sa
paradigm
situation.
shift, no?
Yes.
Magkakaroon ng paradigm shift.
Yes.
And then also, yung farmers that we've been working with for the past 4 years now, yung unang tanong namin sa kanila noong sabi ko nga, kayo ba, ang mga anak niyo gusto niyo maging farmer? So 4 years ago, the answer was no. It's too hard. It's too ano. Pero ngayon, in the 4 years na nagawa namin yung direct to market silang nagbebenta, nararamdaman nila yung kita, 'di ba? Yung ano, Itong February, nag-planning, kami ulit. Bah, silang di kotse lang dumating.
Oh.
Wow.
Mga sasakyan na.
SUV!
Punong-puno yung parking lot ko. Sabi ko, pahanap kayo Tapos, so tinanong namin ulit. Again, the question, do you want your children to be farmers? Ang sagot na nila, oo. At saka yung meeting na yon, ilan dun sa mga farmers na yun, kasama na nila yung mga anak nila. So parang yung isa, parang nag-aral ng criminology, nag-aral ng pabalik na sila sa farm. Kasi nakita na nila na merong sistema na pwede silang umunlad dun sa ginagawa nila.
Ito, pinag-usapan kasi natin medyo on the sustainability part. Pero how do we connect yung aspiration natin na magkaroon tayo ng ang daming hang-up natin kasi Filipino food is going to be the next big thing globally. Di ba may ganun talaga tayong mga positioning, di ba? Aspirations, di ba? Pero ano ba siya? How important is that aspiration to be known globally? Sustainability na hindi lang may availability sa tao, pero kaya nating magpakain ng maayos, di ba? Hindi lang filling the stomach, pero making sure that the next generation grows healthy and intelligent. Kasi nutrition is very important for intelligence. How do we see Filipino food moving forward?
For me, kasi parang it's very beautiful to aspire to put Filipino food globally. Pero dapat wala tayong naiiwanan. Especially nga yung mga producers of our food, the fishers and the farmers. For example, ube is like the next matcha, a next thing. When you go to the ube farmers,
Wala namang tanim.
Walang
harvest.
Walang harvest. At kung bibilhin sa kanila, ang mura-mura. The processors are the one making so much money, packaging it beautifully and selling it to abroad. And building a brand, and sometimes you're losing the brand kasi other countries can grow ube. Not only Philippines. So we need to make sure na pag lumabas tayo globally, mayroon tayong panlaban, yung nagtatanim tayo, may backbone. So grabe, the fascination, the promotion globally is massive. Hindi nahahabol ng production kasi kulang yung backbone. Hindi pa strong yung backbone natin. Nasa marketing na tayo, ang layo-layo na, kaya minsan, yung ibang bansa, nakakapture nila kasi sila pala may supply, kulang sila sa marketing. So, pinosisyon sila natin, hindi natin pinosisyon yung sariling farmers natin.
Ang mangga na wala natin. Nakakaloka na one of our biggest mango processors in the Philippines is now sourcing mangoes from Cambodia. Actually, nagtayo na sila ng mga planta sa Cambodia dahil ang presyo ng mangga sa Cambodia ay stable, hindi katulad natin. So, yung mga ganun. And yet, we have the best mangoes in the whole universe. Diba? So, parang how do we lose that?
Pero yung kagandahan naman ngayon kasi parang the discussion on Filipino heritage is very high right now. Kaya opportune yung ngayon na i-promote ang Philippine heritage, pero at the same time kailangan i-anchor siya dun sa
dapat end-to-end, di ba? Hindi lang yung promotions part, pero yung support sa farmers, sa entrepreneurs.
Kasi yung isang nakakalungkot sa mga fiesta natin ngayon, di ba ang concept natin ng fiesta, nagmumula yan sa harvest, abundant harvest. Pero pag pumunta ka ngayon sa mga fiesta, ano na lang siya, kunyari, saan nyo binili yung bigas ninyo? Paggawa ng mga suman.
Thailand.
Correct.
Vietnam.
Baboy.
Di ba? Anong nangyari? So, parang medyo performative na yung mga fiesta natin at hindi na nagmumula dun sa actual abundance. So, yun yung kailangan nating, I think, i-resolve. Yun yung sinasabing backbone. Kailangan natin ibalik yung masaganang agricultural production na diverse, hindi monocrop, at ibalik natin yung mga natural na tumutubo sa ating bayan.
Maraming report nagsasabi na yung level of literacy or comprehension ng Filipino is very low. So is it because of just the educational system? Or tingin natin, nutrition plays a very big role on the underperformance of our students in the Philippines na medyo dahil hindi nabigyan ng proper nutrition, since infancy, pagdating sa school age, hindi talaga kayang mag...
Yes.
Oo. Oh, pero babalikan natin yan after a short break. And we're back. And napakape kami dito sa usapan natin, di ba? Napaka-interesting. No? It's food, pero ang daming interconnections in the entire,
Napaka-layered.
ecosystem ng Philippine society. No? Pero ngayon kasi, di ba napag-usapan natin, we ended with the question na may impact ba talaga yung ating food issues sa intelligence ng ating mga kapwa Pilipino? Is it we're not able to choose the right leaders because we're not thinking clearly? Possible ba yun? Pero napaka-init na discussion yan.
Napaka-init.
Nakakapasok.
Nakakapasok. Kasi init ng kape.
kape.
Diba? Yan.
Ako, syempre, di ba? Talagang nutrition is critical for brain development. So, yung nakikita natin, maraming kulang sa itlog. Na pinakain ng bata sila. 'Di ba? Sa protina, sa sustansya na dala ng pagkain ng gulay. So, isa sa kung gusto nating magbago yung Pilipinas in terms of critical thinking, in terms of sustainable development for all. Talagang nutrition tayo kailangan mag-umpisa.
Kasi naisip ko because kinikwento kasi ng mom ko dati, di ba yung inuulam, asin at saka mantika ng baboy. Pero yung asin dati, natural salt,
Natural
may
sauce.
minerals. Ngayon, kuha na siya, chemical salt na siya,
Yes.
wala alat lang talaga meron, di ba?
Yes.
Yeah, and yung oil natin ngayon, kuha na siya, seed oil and all that, no? So it's really changing. Pero with all this that's going on in the country right now, ano yung future natin? Ano ba yung, how do we see ourselves moving forward na tayo, mga advocates, nakikita natin, pero the larger population, hindi nila nakikita yung interconnectedness ng issue na to with the rest of our lives. So, how do we move forward and what is the future like for us?
Kami, sa grupo namin, yung isang pinopromote talaga namin yung fiestas that are anchored sa abundance and community spirit. Kasi, ano yan, para sa amin, mahalagang component siya ng heritage natin. It's not just about the food. It's basically about how we commune with nature and how we commune with others. At sentro sa pagkain ang pakikipagkapwa at pagmamahal.
Tama.
No? Tingin ko kailangan
Culture.
nating ibalik
Yes.
na ang
Oh, yes.
pagkain
Yes.
ay pamamaraan para maghatid ng saya at ginhawa at galak no sa ating mga kababayan. At pag-usapan yung mga usapin ng pagkain na bakit hindi na tayo parang masaya no sa pagkain. We keep on just eating and not really understanding why there is hunger, why bakit mayroong malnutrition. So, as an advocate, mahalaga para sa amin yung community building surrounding food, no? Kaya umiikot kami ng Pilipinas kahit nakakapagod para itulak yung paglulunsad ng mga fiesta at mga food events that are anchored dun sa ganung values natin bilang mga Pilipino, no? Hindi siya hindi glitz and glamour ang gusto natin pag Filipino Food Month. Gusto natin i-address yung hunger kasi kung may hunger, then may problema tayo sa pagtingin natin sa pagkain bilang daluyan ng pagbibigay, pakikipagkapwa, kung gayon. So tingin ko yung heritage natin dapat beyond our heritage food, it should go deeper to our values.
Mas
Tama.
holistic dapat yung
Yes.
hindi siya yung as a marketing platform.
Yes.
Hindi
Oo.
siya lang advocacy, hindi lang
Oo.
siya
Yes.
yung show performance.
Oo.
Dapat it's really connect to that, no? Parang, di ba, food is community. It brings people together. Kaya, even if you go abroad, promote, palaging sa Philippines, lahat ng meetings nasa restaurant, nasa coffee shop, lahat pagkain. Kung pumunta ka sa ibang bansa, lahat ng meeting talaga seryoso, nasa boardroom and all. So in the Philippines, we really celebrate food as a sense of community, and that's our culture. Kasi di ba, pag kumakain ka, kasama mo yung family mo, napakasarap. Pagkainan na, full niya yung router ng bahay nila, lahat ng anak nila basan, focus sa pagkain. So parang, ang sarap-sarap tingnan if all of us, like, you know, I was in Siargao, 4 na fiesta yung napuntahan ko. So may mga gabi na daw beses akong kumakain. Kasi ang sarap na the doors are all open,
Diba?
welcome, and you eat whatever is there. Nakakamiss ibalik yung ganyang culture ng Philippines, no? Connecting naman to nutrition, it's not anymore food security, it's nutrition security that threatens national security. You know, there's a global study na yung mga bansa na mayayaman sila at magaling sila magdesisyon, like Japan, lahat yata ng Japanese napakain natin ng banana from the Philippines.
Yeah.
Kasi pagpasok nila sa school, day 1, may banana na kakainin bago mag-start yung class. And these bananas are coming from us.
Yeah.
Pero, alam mo yun, they make better decisions. Singapore, because the cognitive development of each and everybody in Singapore are really highest level. So, ang galing nila mag-decide. And it also contributes to the economic situation of our
Yeah.
country. So, nagiging national security risk siya. Kasi pag medyo mahina nga yung utak, syempre, what's the capacity to be critical? And nowadays pa naman, you're bombarded with 1,000 of ideas and, you know, every day, and information every day. You need to have somehow critical thinking to process all of this. Kaya minsan, wala na yon kasi ang dami-dami nga ang batang nagugutom. We hope na sana all over the Philippines, we go back to, alam mo yon, isang bata, may patch ng plat, magtanim ng pechay, matuto siyang the value of farming, the value of really eating from what you pull out from that soil to eat in the ground. It's not like ngayon, may iba, saan galing yung kamatis nyo?
Hindi
Ay,
na nila
sa supermarket eh. Dinala mo sa farm, hindi nila alam kung anong itsura ng produkto. So, isa yun siguro sa kailangan nating tingnan. Really, mindset shift and behavioral change towards respecting the
How about policy?
culture and
Hindi ba siya
nature.
dapat umabot din sa policy change sa Pilipinas?
It needs to. It needs to. Ako na.
How much time?
It needs to.
Parang sabi ko nga, when people say, so what do we do? Sabi ko, well, number 1, kailangan mong gamitin yung boto mo. Okay, ano yung mga boto mo? Number 1, you vote with your money. Where are you spending your money? Diba? Kasi every peso, ako, hindi naman ako mayaman, diba? Pero every peso I spend, I want to go to somebody, to companies who are doing good for our farmers, for our fisher folk, for our country. Diba? So, gusto kong malaman na lahat ng ginagastos kong pera, may mabuting nagagawa. Diba? So,
It builds a community.
It builds communities around what little resources we have, diba? So, number 2, vote with your actual vote. Diba?
Tama, tama.
Na parang, sinasabi ko nga sa mga farmers tuwing kinakausap ko, na parang, oo, ginagawa natin to, pero pakikialaman ko talaga yung boto niyo. Kasi, yung mga problema niyo, sistema eh.
Oo.
Diba? Logistics, climate change, yung mga polisiya na pinapayagan na mag-advertise sa inyo in your face ang mga fertilizer and pesticide companies, di ba? Na yung preference towards traders. Lahat yan polisiya, ng gobyerno ang makakasolusyon. So kung bumoto kayo ng walang pakialam sa buhay niyo, yan ang mapapala nating lahat. So kailangan talaga yung 2 boto na yon, yung boto ng pera mo at saka yung boto mo, magamit mo ng husto para mapaunlad natin yung ating bayan.
So, very interesting talaga yung ating time. Parang kulang na kulang tayo sa oras. May part 2, part 3.
Kailangan dito 24 oras.
Kaya natin.
Multi-season na conversation. Diba?
Why not?
It's
Yeah, why
really
not?
a lot to unbox,
Yes,
diba?
yes.
Especially when we're talking about food na hindi lang siya yung mapakain mo yung tao. It really parang affects everyone. It affects, you know, the next generation and all that. Ako, there are 2 cities recently for me na really parang struck me na always we talk about a lot of other places na food capital and all that. Pero I've seen na talagang the food is not just delicious but also it's accessible. Nagiging democratic yung accessibility ng good food na mayaman, mahirap, nakakain ng maayos. One is, of course, Iloilo. Di ba? kumain ka dun sa mga nasa tabi-tabing
Tabi-tabi.
kainan, di ba? You're able to eat the freshest seafood, na affordable.
At saka yung street food, nagulat ako doon sa bangketa. Makakabili ka ng laswa, lumpiang sariwa,
sariwa.
di ba? Sa bangketa.
And another is Cagayan de Oro. I was really
Yes.
surprised because ang fresh ng seafood and vegetables. It's because of Bukidnon also,
Bukidnon,
di ba?
yeah.
So, that really transforms the culinary culture of a place. Yung accessibility to the best ingredients, di ba? Metro Manila kasi is different kasi parang it's really everything is so important. Sabi ko nga, parang I'm a chef na, of course, may restaurant tayo, pero hindi naman ganito kasarap yung kain natin dito sa Manila.
Totoo yan.
Di ba? The reality of it
Yes.
all, di ba? Na it's very performative na it's we have the best from this and that place and all that. Pero everything is so super curated na you feel that it's a put on. Di ba? It's a put on. So, eto, mga viewers natin, Simple Peeps, this topic is very important and we really want more people to be aware. Hindi tayo pwede na pupunta tayo sa isang lugar, perspective lang natin. Dapat to quiet ourselves, to taste and listen to their stories so that we understand the food culture of the other place. Hindi tama yung tayo lang yung magiging parang barometer at arbiter kung ano masarap at hindi masarap.
Yes.
You have to put yourself in a certain culture to understand what is going on. And ito, ang dami kong sinasabi, pero from our guests, ito, we also want to hear their final words before we finish our podcast today.
Siguro ako nasa period ako ng pagpapalalim pa sa katutubong kaalaman ng ating mga local communities, kasi tingin ko sila yung source ng malalim na kaalaman, hindi lang sa pagkain kundi sa pangangalaga sa environment, kung paano for centuries tuloy-tuloy na nililinang yung kanilang sariling pagkain. And I think it's very important na makipag-aralan sa kanila. Talagang matuto mula sa kanila in a very honest coming. So, ako tingin ko kailangan yun. At mahalagang ipaunawa sa kanila yung empowering spirit na mahalaga yung pwesto nila sa pagkain at saka sa ekonomiya. Basically, yung mga iniikot naming fiesta, the Gulay Pamor Fiesta, the community culinary workshops, while these are events to highlight local food, it's more than that. It's empowering our communities to really be empowered sa sarili nilang kakayahan.
Ako naman, chef, in our sphere of work, yung sustaining communities nga, it's really about where's the ecology of dignity. Paano ba natin bibigyan ng dignidad yung ating mga farmers and fishers na talagang they're like the best professionals that we have. So if we treat our farmers and fishers with deep respect, that they themselves are business people, isa ito sa siguro will really get us back to how the farmers would see themselves and restore the dignity and the heritage. Kasi you cannot restore heritage from the top and promotion.
Yes.
You restore heritage from building dignity and respect to the very onset, kung sino ba talaga sila. When you build the dignity of the very people who are producing the food, we basically build the dignity of our, and restore
Yun yung backbone.
the heritage. That's the backbone we're talking. Kasi you cannot just be flying, promoting, when your backbone is broken.
So sa akin naman, ang gandang opportunity na ang Filipino food ngayon is very celebrated. Michelin starred restaurants are really banking on Filipino food. Yan yung kanilang hinahype ng todo. Pero, we also need to make sure na nagluluto tayo for people and not for Instagram. 'Di ba? Yung parang, pag ikaw ay nag-promote at sinabi mong Filipino food yan, kamukha pa rin ba niya yung Filipino food mo?
And kalasa pa rin siya.
Kalasa pa rin ba? Ginamit mo ba yung ingredients mo? Yung parang, pag tinitingnan mo, yung parang, valorized ba na parang, Filipino yan, pero I'm using French technique, whatever, something I learned from Spain, chuchuchuchuts, parang, asan? Parang pag
Saan ang
kinain mo,
Pilipino?
asan yung Pilipino?
Ang sa akin kasi very important
Oo.
sa akin, pag tinikman ng Filipino, alam niya, pagkain niya yan.
Pagkain.
Oo.
Ayan.
We're still cooking for people. And also, yung gano'n, yung parang we have to go beyond ganda. Di ba? Yung parang hindi pwedeng ganda lang ang magdadala sa atin. Di ba? Ano yung kabuluhan ng ginawa mo? Napakalawak nung kailangan nating iangat na mga population ng farmers and fisher folk.
So, maraming salamat. We hope na magpa-part 2 tayo, part 3 dito. Pero before that, I would just like to give you, as a token of my appreciation, copies of
Barkadahan na to.
my
Barkadahan. Oh,
books,
wow.
latest books. So, ito siya. Ito yung pinasimple. So, this one is, parang it's a collection of essays and recipes. And ito siya, it tries to uncover yung parang soul of Filipino cooking.
Yeah.
And my other book, this is my recent book, it's Kitchizen.
Kitchizen.
Kitchizen, slow fire, steady heart in a world of too much.
Oh, wow.
So this is like
World
a
of
work
too
of
much.
In a world of too
cultural
much.
philosophy reflecting on the kitchen, di ba? Kasi alam mo naman tayo, nagko-comment tayo sa mga bagay-bagay sa world. Sila, chef, huwag kang mag-comment about this kasi chef ka lang, magluto ka. Pero you realize that your role as a chef is much bigger than
Powerful.
just cooking. So kaya it's kitchen citizen. And if we apply the values of the kitchen to the way we run the nation, na hindi lang nagpapakain, we also think of the nutrition and the dignity we give when feeding our families, it will really change the way we run, no? Philippine society,
Right.
hopefully, di ba? So, thank you very much. Pero if you have any final words for our audience, for our listeners, please do.
Sino muna?
Oo. Ladies first.
Well, saan makita ko kayo sa Gypsy Baguio by Chef Waya? Nasa Baguio po kami. Nagsaserve kami ng pagkain masarap, makabuluhan, hindi lang para sa ating tiyan, pero para sa ating kaluluwa at para sa bayan.
Oh, wow. I love it. Sa kaluluwa. Gusto na busog na ako doon. Ako naman si Cherry. We have actually a new nanay grocery na nilaunch namin, no? Kasi yung mga women farmers namin, 1,080 na yung members namin. So we're trying to make a market for them. So meron kaming nanay grocery bags, lalo na sa mga corporations na for wellness ng inyong mga employees. Pwede po kaming makipag-partner po sa inyo. And you are what you eat. So make sure you source local, you know your farmers, and wag niyong tawaran yung presyo ng mga farmers natin.
Sa ngayon, alam ko maraming nahihilig na sa heritage, into sustainable living, pero sa totoo lang challenging 'yan. Minsan counterintuitive nung sustainable living kapag confronted ka na ito lang sweldo mo. Pero alam kong maraming gustong pumasok dyan at napakahalaga nga na ma-build natin yung community ng like-minded, mindful eaters, mga intentional cooks. Kaya doon kami pumupwesto sa pag-iikot namin ng aming fiesta, the Gulay Pamor Fiesta. The local government has institutionalized the Gulay Pamor. And now we're on year 2.
And that's a wrap for today's episode. If you want to explore even more, check out simple.ph website and our social media pages. Also, grab a copy of my books, Pinasimple and Kitchizen, The Simple Art of Kasapatan, available online and at your favorite bookstores. It's all here at simple.ph, made simple just for you. This has been Chef Tatong. Thank you for watching our podcast, where every story connects us back to our shared roots. Until next time, bye!
Simple.ph. Living made simple.